Guys, you won't believe the value of the coins we go over in this video from 1937. These are wheat cent penny coins. These are very valuable, very rare, and let's just go ahead and hop right into this video. So first of all, it's important to know that this is a Denver issued coin. Now Denver issued 50,430,000 of these coins, and they all have a D mint mark below the date there. Now the weight is very important. They weigh 3.11 grams and a metal composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. When it comes to the value of a coin like this, you want to take into consideration the condition. Condition is very, very important because the better the condition, the more value and money it's going to bring in auction. All of the coins we go over in this video are backed by confirmed sales on Heritage Auction. So this coin right here got graded by PCGS at a mint state 67 red, and it sold for $94. This next coin is once again a Denver issued coin, but it sold for $504. So why would a coin like this sell for so much more money than the previous coin? Now here's the answer. It might seem silly, but there are two small details that made it get that much more money. And the first thing is going to be the plus sign after the grade. Essentially, the plus sign just means that the coin is on the higher side of the grade, but not quite enough to get to the next grade. It might seem a little silly, but collectors will pay a heavy premium for a plus coin, especially if it's a top population coin, in combination with the fact that this has what we call a CAC sticker. Now CAC is another third-party company that's going to look at the coin in the holder and see if the grade is accurate. It might seem a bit silly, but sometimes these grading companies don't get it right, and that's why a company like CAC will come in and make sure that the grade is accurate. So the plus sign and the CAC sticker allowed this coin to sell for $504. $7,500 this 1937 Denver issued wheat cent penny coin sold for. That's a lot of money for a little coin. PCGS graded it at a 68, so you can see the huge price difference of only one grade. Now if you come across a coin like this, here is what I recommend. First of all, don't get your hopes up, guys. Please understand that getting this high of a grade is incredibly rare, and if that was not the case and everyone was getting 68s, then the value of the coin would simply not be this high. Chances are you're going to have a coin that's worth maybe a few $100s at most. Don't get me wrong, that is still a lot of money, but if you hit a home run somehow and get a 68 or higher, because you could get a 69 or a 70, which is the perfect grade, that is where the true value is really going to shine, and you're going to need to find a trustworthy expert to help you out. The last thing you want to do is take a coin like this to a pawn shop, because they're going to give you maybe $1,000 at most, and they're going to flip it for $7,500 or more. The biggest thing here, guys, is the condition, the grade. A dealer or anyone is not really going to buy the coin unless it's already graded. But please, there is a high probability that you should not get your coin graded, because the time and the money involved with getting a coin graded is not going to pay dividends. If you come across a 1937 D coin and you're like, wow, I saw James on Old Money Prices said this coin could be worth $7,500. Yeah, that's if you get a 68. But there's a high probability that if you send your coin off, you're going to get a 64 or 65 at best. Even then, a coin that's nearly 100 years old, that is a really high grade, but a 68 is stellar. That's why it sold for $7,500. Huh, that's weird, guys. Look at this next coin. If you look at the date, there is no mint mark below the date. What does that mean? That means you have a Philadelphia issued coin. Now, typically speaking, Philadelphia will produce the most amount of coins. Remember, Denver issued over 50 million. Philadelphia issued over 309 million. That is a ton of coins for this mintage. And with a lot of coins will typically come lower demand and lower prices. But still, this one got a 67 by PCGS, and it sold for $186. $8,400. That is a ton of money for this Philadelphia issued coin. You may be saying to yourself, why would the value be so high? It all comes down to how many coins were able to achieve that high of a grade for that specific mint mark. So this Philadelphia issued coin, it is a top population coin. Just to put that into perspective, at the time of recording this, there was only 6 68s ever graded, and there were 621 67. So that is the spread there. There are no 69s, no 70s for this coin right here, and you can imagine if you got the 69 or the 70, you would most definitely be getting tons and tons of money. I mean, a 69 in this grade and condition would probably bring close to 15 to 20,000 plus, which is a huge jump for one grade condition. Moving on to proof coins. So there were only 9,300 320 proof coins ever produced. So with that in mind, you may be saying to yourself, wow, a proof coin is more than likely going to be worth a ton of money. And you could be right in some situations, but just realize that proof coins were made in a different manner than normally issued coins. They're done one by one by Mint employees, and proof coins were originally created to show to the Mint team before they said, okay, let's go ahead and run the minting machines at full capacity. They wanted to see what a proof coin or what a perfect example of the coin would look like before they went ahead and started producing hundreds of millions of coins. This proof coin is a nice example, graded by NGC at a proof 65, so still it's 5 points away from the perfect grade of 70. It sold for $252. Alright, I'll be brief on this one. It's just 1 point higher than the previous coin, so this one got a 66 and it sold for $456. So you can see the price difference on those can be pretty significant with each grade change. $2,280 for this proof coin. Now remember, the first proof coin we went over was a 65, then we went over a 66, and now we're going over a 67. So that's a big price jump, $2,280 for this coin. It all comes down to the grade, but you can just see the really nice detail on a coin like this. And the cool thing about proof coins is they're minted to near perfection. So getting a higher grade for a proof coin is not that uncommon unless it's an older date. So for example, these brand new coins that are being minted today have a very high probability of getting a 70 grade. But a coin like this that is from 1937, it's going to be more challenging, but still this one was able to sell for $2,280. We are moving into the San Francisco issued coins. Now typically San Francisco will issue less coins than Denver and Philadelphia, and that is the case in this example. So San Francisco issued 34,500,000 coins. Now it seems like a lot, but compared to Denver and Philadelphia, it's really not that many. So with that being said, San Francisco issued coins should bring more value for the most part, depending on how many high graded examples there are and how many were produced. This one got graded by NGC at a mint state 67, which is only 3 points away from the perfect grade of 70, and it sold for $264. Now look at this stunning example. I mean, it's the same grade as the previous coin. However, it has much better eye appeal, and it goes without saying because look at the luster of this coin, and after the grade there is a plus sign. So this is a mint state 67 plus by PCGS. Also, this coin did achieve the CAC sticker, which will increase the value of the coin. It sold for $1,260. Now this next coin sold for an outrageous $38,400. That's right, guys, nearly $40,000 for a little penny coin. Isn't that outrageous? Well, there are collectors out there that really want high graded coins, and when you come across a coin like this, it is going to trump all other coins. Now this coin sold for so much money because it is a top population coin. So there was only 2 at the 68 grade and 1 with the 68 plus. So this is a top population. There are no other coins higher than this coin, and when you come across a coin that is a top pop coin, that is going to bring significant value in the market. That is why this little coin sold for $38,400. Remember, do your homework, do your research, don't get scammed, don't get ripped off. We hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more, and we'll see you in the next video.